Kim Jong-un has invited Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit North Korea. This is according to Pyongyang's state media. Kim also told Putin that their meeting had brought bilateral ties to a new level. He also expressed the willingness to foster stable relations between North Korea and Russia for the next 100 years. Kim was reportedly briefed on the technical details of Russian space vehicles during his visit to a cosmodrome. So far, there are no reports of any arms supply deals. India and Russia have agreed to widen their maritime cooperation. They'll explore the possibility of using new transport corridors. This includes using the Northern Sea Route and Eastern Maritime Corridor. Both sides have also agreed that Indian seafarers will be trained on polar and Arctic waters. They'll be trained at the Russian Maritime Training Institute. The White House has reacted to Republican plans to launch an impeachment inquiry against U.S. President Joe Biden. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre denounced it and called the efforts baseless. She said no evidence has been produced by Republicans against the president as they investigate the business dealings of his son, Hunter Biden. Several Republicans claimed that Biden profited from his term as vice president under Barack Obama. U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has called for an investigation into the allegations. A 23-year-old Indian woman studying in the U.S. was killed by a speeding police vehicle in January this year. Now, a video has been released by the Seattle Police Department. In the video, a police officer can be heard laughing and joking about the incident. The officer was also heard saying she had a limited value. India has voiced strong criticism against the incident. The Indian consulate in San Francisco has termed the incident deeply troubling. It has also called upon U.S. authorities to conduct a thorough investigation. A convicted murderer who escaped from a Pennsylvania jail in the United States was captured on Wednesday. The murderer was nabbed with the help of a heat-sensing aircraft and a police dog. Danilo Cavalcante had been on the run for about 2 weeks after he broke out of Chester County Prison by crab walking between two walls in the jail. Federal police in Argentina have seized more than 200 Nazi and anti-Semitic books. The books were found during a raid on a printing and book distribution company in Buenos Aires. The raid came after an extensive investigation that began in 2021. It was launched after a complaint by the Israeli-Argentine Association against an e-commerce platform. The Argentine police closed down the printing house and a man has been arrested. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his political rivals have been presented with alternative proposals for the country's judicial overhaul plan. The alternatives were presented by Israel's President Isaac Herzog. The details of the new compromise proposals have not been made public. However, if accepted, this could end a crisis that has been tormenting the country for months. In January, the Netanyahu government launched a campaign to overhaul Israel's judiciary. This sparked widespread protests across the nation. Five Palestinians were killed on Wednesday at the Israel-Gaza border. This happened after an explosive device appeared to have been detonated accidentally. This comes at a time when dozens of youngsters in Gaza held a protest along the border in support of Palestinians jailed in Israel. Pakistan could see a further rise in petrol and diesel prices. Prices could go up by about 10 to 16 Pakistani rupees per litre from September 15th. This is due to both its currency depreciating and higher international oil prices. The price of kerosene may also go up in Pakistan. China and Venezuela have signed several bilateral cooperation documents. These focus on various areas including the economy, trade, and tourism. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro signed the deals with China's Xi Jinping after a meeting in Beijing. Maduro said the visit was historic as it marked a new era in China-Venezuela relations. Foxconn founder and billionaire Terry Gou has announced his running mate in Taiwan's upcoming presidential election. Actor Tammy Lai, who's part of the hit show Wave Makers, will be running alongside Gou. Gou must gather close to 300,000 voter signatures by November 2nd to qualify as an independent candidate. Taiwan's other candidates are yet to announce their running mates. Japan has witnessed a cabinet reshuffle. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has picked a woman as foreign minister. A new defense minister has been appointed who earlier worked to build ties with Taiwan. The cabinet reshuffle comes amid a dip in popularity for Kishida. This follows a string of scandals, from data mishaps linked to government ID cards and the arrest of a minister on the suspicion of graft. Chilean workers took to the streets in the capital city of Santiago. They were protesting against the dismissal of nearly 7,000 health workers. They allegedly lost their jobs due to budget constraints. The strike seeks to reverse the layoffs. It also aims to hold the Chilean government accountable for commitments made in terms of their careers and retirement incentives. A huge fire broke out in Bangladesh's capital, Dhaka. It gutted several hundred shops in a busy market area. It took 6 hours for Bangladeshi military forces and firefighters to contain the blaze. A fire service official has said that there were no casualties. The fire apparently broke out due to an electric short circuit. A fire hit an apartment block in Vietnam's capital city of Hanoi on Tuesday. Nearly 56 people have died and 37 were injured. The fire broke out on the first floor of the 9-story apartment block. It was home to some 150 residents. A search and rescue operation has been initiated. Vietnam's prime minister has asked for an immediate investigation into the cause of the accident. In climate news, Libyan residents desperately searched for their missing relatives. This was after catastrophic floods hit the country. Thousands have been confirmed dead, with many more thousands still missing. Images showed the devastation across the city of Derna, which was the worst affected. Meanwhile, Libyan soldiers were seen recovering bodies from the sea. A new cyclone has hit southern Brazil. Drone footage shows landslides and flooded roads. This comes just after a different cyclone hit Brazil just a week ago. It left at least 41 people dead and thousands homeless. Europe's Lake Prespa is rapidly receding. It's one of the continent's oldest lakes and home to more than 2,000 species of fish, birds, mammals and plants. Water levels are now about 26 feet lower than they were in the 1970s. Environmentalists say the lack of rain, evaporation and the overuse of water are the main reasons for this water loss. Scientists say the world has crossed 6 of 9 planetary boundaries. Planetary boundaries are thresholds the world needs to stay within to ensure a stable, livable planet. These include climate change, biodiversity, fresh water and land use, and the impact of synthetic chemicals and aerosols. The degradation comes as a result of human-caused pollution and destruction of the natural world. Several dozen protesters gathered outside the New York headquarters of the investment firm BlackRock. They called on the company to cease financing fossil fuels. The protesters blocked roads, wore face masks of BlackRock's CEO, and erected a mock oil rig during their demonstration. Later, officials arrested a handful of the protesters. On to business and tech news. Argentina's annual inflation rate shot up to 124% in August. This is the highest level since 1991. It is pushing poverty levels past 40% in the country. Argentina is caught in a cycle of economic crises, with its currency also depreciating. The European Commission has launched a new investigation into the electric vehicle sector. It will see whether to impose new tariffs. This is to protect the bloc's producers against cheaper Chinese EVs. The European Commission will have up to 13 months to assess whether to impose new tariffs. The investigation covers battery-powered cars from China. This also includes non-Chinese brands made there, like Tesla, Renault, and BMW. US and European firms are shifting investment away from China to other developing markets. This is according to a report from the research firm Rhodium Group. India is receiving the vast majority of this redirected foreign capital. India is followed by Mexico, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Companies are distancing themselves from Beijing due to its challenging business environment, slow economic recovery, and politics. India will come up with a new policy for electric vehicle makers. This is according to the country's Commerce Minister, Piyush Goyal. India is seeking to attract EV manufacturers and encourage greater investment in the sector. This comes while the Indian government is in talks with Tesla over the possibility of setting up a factory in the country. National Australia Bank has said it will shut down its Hong Kong office. This is because its offices in Singapore, Tokyo, and Shanghai are its preferred hubs in Asia. The move is likely to impact about 50 roles in Hong Kong. NAB's move follows the decision of its peer Westpac. Westpac ceased its Hong Kong operations in June. Financial firm Goldman Sachs has reportedly fired several executives from its transaction banking unit. This is because the employees had violated the firm's communication policy. The Goldman Sachs policy states that employees must conduct firm-related business on firm-approved communication channels. US regulators have so far fined dozens of American firms, collectively more than $2 billion. This is for allegedly failing to keep tabs on their employees' use of off-channel communications. Reports say financial firm Deloitte is planning to cut more than 800 jobs in the United Kingdom. This is about 3% of its British workforce. The move comes as Deloitte plans to focus on cost-cutting amid a slowdown in the second half of this year. Google's parent company Alphabet is laying off employees from its global recruiting team. The company said that the job cuts could impact a few hundred roles. However, it's not part of a wide-scale layoff and will significantly retain a majority of the team. Alphabet said that it will also help the workers search for new roles within the company and elsewhere. China says it has not issued a ban on the purchase and use of foreign phone brands. However, a spokesperson added that Beijing expects all mobile phone companies to strictly abide by its laws. This was in response to previous media reports. Earlier reports said that some government agencies and firms in China had told staff to stop using Apple's iPhones at work. Elon Musk has said that there is a need for a regulator to ensure the safe use of artificial intelligence. He says a regulator is likely to be appointed in the future. Musk said this after a meeting with US lawmakers at Capitol Hill in Washington. The forum discussed the regulation of AI. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg and Google's Sundar Pichai also attended the forum. Moving to sports, we start with cricket. Pakistan will take on Sri Lanka in an almost semi-final clash at the 2023 Asia Cup today. Unpredictable Sri Lankan weather still remains a concern. According to forecasters, the match is likely to be interrupted multiple times. If it's called off, Sri Lanka will qualify for the final due to their higher net run rate. The winner will face India in the Asia Cup final. Afghanistan have announced their 15-member squad for the upcoming one-day International World Cup. Hashmatullah Shahidi will be leading the team. Afghanistan have also recalled fast bowler Naveen-ul Haq for the tournament. Afghanistan opened their World Cup campaign against Bangladesh on October 7th. Australia's cricket governing body has mandated players to wear neck protectors. Cricketers will have to wear them under their helmets starting October 1st. The decision comes a week after Australian all-rounder Cameron Green sustained a concussion injury. This happened during the first ODI match in the ongoing series against South Africa. Australia's cricket body had recommended the use of neck guards since the death of Philip Hughes in 2014. However, a number of prominent players like David Warner and Steve Smith opposed the neck guards. Moving to football, India's Sunil Chhetri has been named captain of the national team for the upcoming Asian Games. The All India Football Federation announced the 15-member squad yesterday. Goalkeeper Gurpreet Singh and defender Sandesh Jigan have not been included in the Indian squad. Italian midfielder Marco Verratti has joined Qatari football club Al Arabi. Verratti ended his 11-year-long stint at the French football club Paris Saint-Germain for a record fee. The Qatar Stars League reportedly paid over $48 million for his transfer. Verratti joined PSG in 2012 and has made more than 416 appearances for the club. In tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic received a warm welcome in Serbia. Thousands of fans had initially gathered for the homecoming celebration of the Serbian basketball team. But then, Djokovic made a surprise appearance. He broke into tears of joy as the crowd cheered for him. Djokovic waved at his fans and held up his latest US Open trophy. The 36-year-old recently won his record 24th Grand Slam at the 2023 US Open. Indian badminton player PV Sindhu met Apple CEO Tim Cook. This was in California at a recent Apple event. During her encounter, Sindhu also proposed a friendly badminton match with Cook on his future visits to India. Sindhu took to social media to share photos of her encounter. Meanwhile, Lakshya Sen pulled out of the 2023 Hong Kong Open badminton tournament yesterday. Sen withdrew just hours before his match, handing his opponent a walkover. He was India's top-ranked shuttler participating in the meet. Other players like PV Sindhu, HS Pranoy have skipped it to focus on the upcoming Asian Games. North Korea is all set to end its 3-year-long absence from the global sporting arena. The country will feature in the upcoming Asian Games in China. A total of 191 North Korean athletes will compete at the multi-event meet starting next week. In basketball, America's National Basketball Association, or NBA, has approved new resting policies. It prohibits NBA teams from resting multiple star players from a game this season. Anybody who is selected in an All-NBA team or in an All-Star NBA team in the previous 3 seasons is considered a star player. That's according to the league's player participation policy. Teams might attract fines up to thousands of dollars for violating the new resting rules. Moving to entertainment news, Disney Entertainment TV has suspended several deals with producers. Despite this, the studio will continue to pay for deals in order to provide salaries for assistants until the end of 2023. The step comes at a time when the Hollywood actors and writers strike has no end in sight. Last week, Warner Brothers TV took a similar step. The show Real Time with Bill Maher will soon be on air. However, makers are not working with striking writers. Host Bill Maher said, and I quote, "It has been 5 months and it's time to bring people back to work. The writers have important issues that I sympathize with and hope they are addressed to their satisfaction, but they're not the only people with issues, problems and concerns." The show will return on September 22nd. The cast of the reality show Dancing with the Stars Season 32 has been revealed. The new cast includes real estate mogul and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Mauricio Umansky, singer Jason Mraz, and actor Allison Hannigan. The new cast members will compete in front of a panel involving Carrie-Anne Inaba and Bruno Tonioli. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has reflected on his on and off relationship with Aquaman actor Amber Heard. He has spoken about the romance in his new biography, calling it brutal. Musk and Heard met in 2013 and got romantically involved 4 years later. This was around the time when Heard had already filed for divorce from her former husband and actor Johnny Depp. Elon Musk's brother, Kimball Musk, described Amber Heard as toxic and a nightmare. American actor and comedian Pete Davidson has spoken out about the struggles he faced before he went to rehab earlier this year. Davidson has said that he took a medication called ketamine for 4 years. During his recent comedy show, Davidson joked, "I'm fresh out of rehab. I got that post-rehab glow. 7th time is the charm." In June this year, several reports emerged that the comedian was being treated for post-traumatic stress disorder and borderline personality disorder. American actor and film director Sean Penn has spoken about his documentary on the Ukraine war. He's opened up about how he wanted the documentary called Superpower to be a lighthearted watch, but it has turned into a war film. The documentary initially wanted to portray comedian-turned-politician Volodymyr Zelensky's journey. Sean Penn met Zelensky in person off-camera on February 23, 2022. Singer Oliver Anthony has said that he is cancelling his September 27 show in the U.S. state of Tennessee. This is because of high ticket prices. The singer took to social media and said, "Ultimately, it's my fault for not being more directly involved with the venues who have reached out." Tickets for the show were listed at $99. In order to meet the singer, fans had to pay $199. Singer Olivia Rodrigo has announced her 2024 Guts World Tour. 57 dates have been announced. Olivia Rodrigo is famous for her hit songs including Driver's License, Good For You, and Deja Vu. She also starred in High School Musical, the series. Singer Nick Jonas has called out fans who throw objects at singers while they perform on stage. This happened when the Jonas Brothers were performing in California. One of the fans threw a bracelet on stage during the performance. Nick Jonas told the person to stop. This isn't the first time such an incident has taken place. Earlier, singers including Bebe Rexha, Drake were also pelted with objects during their performances. Models with disabilities took to the runway at New York Fashion Week on Wednesday. They wore clothes designed to meet their needs. The fashion show was staged by a public charity. It works with retailers to adapt clothing to all consumers' needs. The aim was to give people with disabilities access to fashion. More than 70 models with varying disabilities took part in the show.